$3. That is what your grandfather handed the doctor on the way out the door. Not $300, not a copay after insurance, not a bill that arrives 3 weeks later when you have already forgotten the visit. $3. Cash. And the doctor knew his name. In 1962, an ordinary working man in America could wake up sick on a Monday morning, call his family doctor, walk into that office by noon, and walk out taken care of for less than what you spend on lunch today. No pre-authorization, no deductible, no hold music for 45 minutes. Just a doctor who knew your family. And a system that assumed you deserved to be taken care of. What happened to that America? And why does getting sick today feel like a financial emergency is exactly what we are going to talk about.
Picture a Tuesday morning in 1962. Your grandfather wakes up. Maybe he has a sore throat. Maybe his chest has been tight since Sunday. He does not lie awake the night before calculating what it will cost to find out. He does not check his insurance card. He does not wonder if this doctor is in network or out of network, because those words do not exist yet in the American vocabulary. He picks up the phone. The receptionist answers on the second ring. She knows his voice before he says his last name. Appointment at 10:30. Be there a few minutes early. He drives down streets he knows by heart, parks in front of a small brick building with a simple sign. Dr. Harold Miller, General Practice. He has been coming here since his first boy was born. The waiting room is quiet. Wood paneling, a few chairs, a magazine from last month on the table. The receptionist, Mrs. Patterson, asks about his wife, about the kids. There is no form to fill out with 17 pages of medical history. She already knows his medical history. Dr. Miller comes out himself to bring him in. Not a nurse, not an assistant, not someone who takes your blood pressure and disappears for 20 minutes. The doctor himself. He sits down across from your grandfather and he looks at him the way men used to look at each other, like the person in front of him is the only thing that matters right now. He asks questions. He listens to the answers. He does not glance at a screen while your grandfather is talking. There is no screen. 15 minutes later, your grandfather is walking back out into the morning air. Prescription in hand, instructions he actually understood because they were explained to him in plain English by a man who respected his intelligence. He stops at the front desk on the way out. $3. He drives home, back to work by noon. The family never worried about that visit again. There was nothing to worry about. That was not a privilege. That was not something reserved for wealthy families or important people. That was just Tuesday in America. And then, without asking anyone's permission, it all changed. Now picture the same Tuesday morning. Same sore throat, same tight chest since Sunday. But it is not 1962 anymore. You wake up and the first thought, before you even sit up in bed, is not what is wrong with you. It is what is this going to cost? You check your insurance card, you open the app, you search for an in-network provider accepting new patients within 20 miles. The first available appointment is not today. It is not tomorrow. The earliest opening is 11 days from now, and that is if you are lucky. So you consider urgent care, $45 copay, if everything goes smoothly. But everything rarely goes smoothly. You sit on hold for 31 minutes just to confirm your insurance will cover the visit. The automated voice tells you your call is very important. You have heard this before. You drive to the clinic. You fill out the same forms you filled out last time because the system did not save them. A person you have never met and will never see again checks your blood pressure and disappears. You wait in a room that smells like disinfectant and recycled air for 22 minutes before someone comes in. They spend 7 minutes with you, They do not sit down. You walk out with a prescription and a vague feeling that something important was missed. The bill arrives 19 days later. $280. After insurance. You pay it because what choice do you have? You do not call anyone to talk about it. You just pay it and move on, because this is simply what it costs to be sick in America now. Your grandfather paid $3. You paid $280. Same sore throat, same Tuesday morning, 93 times more expensive. But here is what that number does not capture. Your grandfather walked out of that office feeling taken care of, feeling known, feeling like the system he lived inside was built for people like him. You walked out hoping nothing serious was missed by someone who had 7 minutes and a screen full of billing codes. The price changed, but what really disappeared was something that no insurance policy has ever been able to replace. The certainty that if something was wrong, someone who knew your name would help you fix it. Because here is what nobody talks about. The $3 doctor visit was never really about $3. Think about what that $3 actually represented. It represented certainty. The quiet, unspoken certainty that if your body failed you, even a little, there was a system waiting to catch you. A real system, built by people who assumed that an honest working man deserved to be taken care of, without having to become a financial expert first. Your grandfather never learned what a deductible was, not because he was not intelligent, because he never needed to. He never lay awake at 3 a.m. running numbers in his head. He never made the decision to wait another week and see if it gets better on its own, because waiting felt safer than the bill that comes after. He never chose between the mortgage and the doctor. That was not wealth. That was not luck. That was dignity. The dignity of living inside a system that was built around the assumption that your health, your basic human health, was not a luxury item. Ask yourself honestly, when is the last time you went to the doctor without thinking about the cost first? When is the last time someone you love made that same call without hesitation, without fear? You worked your whole life for the security your grandfather took for granted on an ordinary Tuesday morning. Or you watched someone you love work that same hard life, and still that simple certainty of being taken care of feels completely out of reach. That feeling you carry is not weakness. It is the accurate weight of something real that was taken.
And that brings us to something that needs to be said out loud. Because for a long time, maybe longer than you realize, a quiet voice in the back of your mind has been asking a question you could never quite answer. Why does it feel so hard? You did everything right. You showed up, you worked, you paid your bills, you tried to build something solid for the people you love. And still, somehow, the life your grandfather lived on a single modest income feels like something you could never quite reach, no matter how hard you tried. And somewhere along the way, without anyone ever saying it directly, you started to wonder if maybe the problem was you. It was not you. You were not failing. The game changed. While your grandfather was living that Tuesday morning, while the doctor knew his name and the bill was $3, 1,000 quiet decisions were being made that would slowly dismantle every assumption that made that Tuesday possible. Not overnight, not dramatically, just slowly, steadily, one policy at a time, one corporate decision at a time, until the Tuesday your grandfather lived became a Tuesday that no longer exists. You did not fail to keep up. The finish line was moved.
and nobody told you. That is what this channel exists to do. Not to make you angry, not to point fingers at anyone sitting in a particular chair, but to sit with you, the way Dr. Miller sat with your grandfather, and say clearly and honestly, you were right to feel what you felt. The ground shifted beneath your feet, and you deserved better than silence about why. If that is something you want to keep hearing, there is a button just below this video that means you will never miss it. Not because we need the number, because you deserve to keep hearing the truth.
Before you go, I want to ask you something personal. Did your father or grandfather have a family doctor who knew him by name? And what do you remember about the way that man made your family feel? Or maybe you are watching this, thinking about someone you love, a husband, a father, a son, who deserves that same certainty and has never once had it. Either way, tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if this felt true to you today, share it with someone who needs to hear that they were not failing. Because they were not. The game changed on all of us.